Being the author of My Bloody Life series, what is your main purpose in writing this book?
My main purpose for this was to get the message out to kids that the gang life is not something that they want. It is something very unpleasant to experience. I personally did enjoy it, but I have no regrets. This book was mainly to let the people out of the gang, people who went through this, or people who have been through experiences that I have, to teach them that the gang life should never be an option. It is really not something they would want to live through. They clearly read about my life. They knew that my father beat me. He held a gun at me once. He held it directly to my head, and my mother did nothing about it. But that was just me. I was desperate and in search of love, and my parents didn't give me that. The Latin Kings showed me a lot of love, a lot of respect. They showed me something that my real family didn't show me. That is why I did it. But this book is to let all the youngsters out there know that even if you're in a situation as bad or even worse than what I was in, it is no reason for you to just be out there doing drugs or selling drugs or just in any type of affiliation with any gang. It's really something that I do not regret, yet I did enjoy it. Would I go back to it? I don't think so. And I have my reasons for that. But honestly, overall, the main purpose of this book is to the younger generations out there that what you do, what you're doing right now, will affect you and can affect you for the rest of your life. Therefore, don't join or even hang with the wrong crowd, because once you get into that, then come drugs, then comes smoking, then comes drinking, and you're on your way to being a Reymundo Sanchez. So, my main purpose, there it is.
What is the significance of the Latin King Code of Conduct?
Um, the Latin King Code of Conduct, actually, good idea you brought that up. It's a book, like a handbook, where it's a list of rules that the Latin Kings, the first Latin Kings, Lord Gino being the main one, they came up with this book with rules. And it's strict, very strict rules, almost as if you were in a religion or a cult or the military. You have to honor each of those rules. Whoever breaks the rules will be dealt with. And I've broken those rules, and trust me, I was dealt with. But overall, the code of conduct is something to maintain order within the gang, something to maintain peace. As you know by now, the Latin Kings are known nationwide. There are some in California, there's some in New York, there's some even across seas. So the whole reason and the significance of this conduct is to basically just that, to maintain order no matter where you are. You swear an oath and you are initiated. And once you pass those two steps, you're officially a Latin King. And even after you leave the gang, you must still abide to it, even after you're not in the gang anymore. There have been people who have broken the code, and they were dealt with personally. I, at one point, was dealt with, and I did take care of somebody who did break the rules. So they are very strict on that. It's a policy, just don't break no matter where you are. They will find you, and you will face the consequences.
How do you deal with it when you do break the Code of Conduct?
Most of the time, there are what what you people would call a beating. What we call it is a punishment, just regular punishment like any other. It is basically two, maybe three to six guys from the meeting. They gather around whoever broke the rules, and they beat him for a certain amount of minutes. It could be 1, 2, 3, or maybe up to 5 or 6 minutes of just all of them pounding away. They really don't care they say they're your brothers, but at that point, within that small time period, they all their intentions are is to hurt you. And it's nothing personal, but it's just strictly the code of conduct that they have to follow. Um, it's kind of like an initiation, but since you're already in the gang, it's just like a penalty. That's what happens to you. Um, like I said before, they are your brothers, but it's just like if you were in a real family. Your older brother tells on you, and your parents give him permission to beat you. It's the same type of thing.
What is the brotherhood that the Latin Kings have?
The brotherhood of the Latin Kings is very, very important. Like I said before, it is in the code of conduct that you must treat everybody within the gang as a brother and or sister. Um, Although you may not get along, you may have different views, you have your differences, this and that, you must treat them as a brother. Whoever does not will get dealt with, like I said before, with a punishment, which is something I don't think anybody wants.
Do you consider the ones that were in your gang with you and the new people you joined over the years are like your brothers or sisters?
Um, Personally, one-on-one, I honestly don't think so because I don't even know them. But because I took that oath 10 years ago, I am by code to consider them as my brothers and or sisters. So me personally, no, but by the code I have to. So yes, they are my brothers and sisters. I will not help them, however, because I am no longer in the gang. Your brothers and sisters within the gang are basically just like your backup goods, who if you're in trouble, they are to help you. If they're in trouble, you are to help them. It's very, very strict, and you just have to treat everybody alike. You have to treat them like brothers, no matter how much you despise them, what they do, what they say. It's all in the code. Everyone must follow.
While in the gang, did you have a certain type of uniform to distinguish you guys?
Actually, it's not much of a uniform. It's more of just like a fad. Our colors are gold and black, and when I was there, you had to do something to show that you were there. We wear those colors with pride wherever we go. If we walk out of our house, we are to wear them with pride, and really, there's nothing else to it. After I left the gang, a couple years afterwards, they added something to the code of conduct where you had to get a tattoo of the Latin King insignia, whether it was a crown or a fork, one or the other, you had to get a tattoo. So Latin Kings nowadays, they have a tattoo of a king, of a crown, of whatever it is that you want to call it. They are distinguished by that tattoo. I am lucky enough not to have taken that tattoo because honestly, with what I lived through in that gang, I would honestly be ashamed of it. I do not regret it, but I would definitely be ashamed of it. And really, there's nothing to it. Just wear those colors with pride, and by the code, you have to wear them, whether you like it or not. As you can see, my apparel. I've been 10, 15 years out of this gang, and I still have to abide by that code, the dress code. I am in no circumstances allowed to cooperate with anything or anything concerning the media. This is simply just a private one-on-one. I am not allowed to show my face or my true voice because of this code. So, yes, we do have our own distinguishing acolytes, as you may. So, yes, we do.
While in the gang, what made you finally realize that what we were doing wasn't really where you were?
Honestly, I will say it was my relationship with Queen Loca. I remember that day perfectly. Her son was in the park, and there was a shooting between us and a rival gang. And her son was shot by accident. He died in my arms that day. And really, it just completely just changed my whole mindset. At one point I thought these were my brothers, and they killed a little boy that to me was like a son. while I was in a relationship with Queen Loca. Um, she, I don't know, I guess she blamed me for it. I'm not specifically sure, but we just had we went our separate ways. And honestly, overall, I really think it was the relationship. There were also the side facts that, I was being intoxicated and all this, but mostly I believe it was a relationship I had with her.
What's something that you would like to tell the audience, especially the younger generation?
Um, Basically, just stay in school, and like I said at the start, don't, under any circumstances, join or hang with the wrong crowd. You can now learn from my mistakes. Don't follow in my footsteps. You know better. I'm hoping and praying that your parents treat you better than what mine did, and really just stay in school, because the life of a gangster is not something that you want or you need. There's really nothing else to say.
Well, that is all the time that we have with you. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
Sure.